I was debating someone the other day on the GOAT, and you know what? I've had it. Enough is enough! I'm gonna settle this argument once and for all. Today, I'm here to tell you what it really means to be the greatest of all time, the GOAT. My name is Kyle J. Shower, and welcome to the Kyle J. Show. I'm gonna let you in on a little secret in life. If you want to learn everything you need to know about a person, find out what they're passionate about and ask them who they think the GOAT is. I'm serious, it sparks a genuine conversation about their interests, but also you get to learn a ton about the way they work and how they think about things. It's an especially great tool in the business world to see what kind of person you're dealing with. And really, it's not about the actual answer, it's about how they come up with the answer. Does it come from a place of logic or does it come from a place of emotion? If it comes from a place of logic, is their logic sound? If you push back, do they go into fight or flight? Are they able to accept different perspectives, or is everything just black and white? After having this conversation, there are some people, and even close friends of mine, that I would never go into business with because of their shit logic and unwillingness to see other perspectives. In all my years of asking this question, not only have I learned a lot about people, but I've learned a lot about what makes someone or something the GOAT. At the heart of every GOAT debate, whether it's in sports, art, music, I don't know, brands of cereal, which in that case everybody knows it's Cinnamon Toast Crunch. But whatever it is, it's a debate of meaning. What does it mean to be the GOAT? Well, I'll tell you what it means. Being the GOAT means being of the highest quality. Now maybe you're sitting there thinking, no shit. Well, I'm sorry, but we need to have this discussion because I'm convinced that we've lost sight of what makes something quality, let alone the highest quality. I mean, we're talking about the GOAT, the greatest of all time. And some of y'all be tossing this term around a little too thoughtlessly. When a society begins to lose an understanding of quality, well then you get Donald Trump and Joe Biden as your only two options for leading your country. Fucking pathetic! Excuse me. Deep breath, okay. Let's talk about quality. I couldn't even begin to start a conversation on quality without paying my respects to the GOAT of quality itself, Robert M. Pirsig. He wrote a book in the 70s on the concept of quality called Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, which might be one of the most significant philosophical works of the 20th century. After this, the man went on to create an entire metaphysics of quality. Don't worry, we're not going to spend the entire time philosophizing over the concept of the GOAT. But I want to start by talking about his thoughts on objective versus subjective quality. Pirsig had a lot to say on this topic, and trying to explain it is pretty difficult because the man refused to give a clear definition of what quality is. Philosophers, man. Pirsig saw that without a doubt, quality is subjective, meaning we all have our own personal ideas of excellence. For some, the perfect steak is to be cooked 129 degrees with a nice pink color throughout. And to others, the perfect steak is to be cooked well done. Those people need to be locked up in an asylum! And not even a normal, healthy asylum. One of those abusive asylums from the 80s.
What if somebody wants theirs well done?
We ask them politely yet firmly to leave.
Now, some people take this pretty far and argue that quality is purely subjective. They say there's nothing objective about it, but that just isn't true. Every person, every work of art, every sport has their own objective qualities that make it what it is. For instance, we can differentiate soccer and basketball because of their many different objective qualities. The field they play on, the ball they use, the rules of the game, all that even makes our ideas of excellence different. If you only put up 3 points in basketball, it's not that big of a deal.
They thought he wasn't going to play with a sprained ankle.
Well, he had 2 points. He didn't play.
If you scored 3 goals in soccer, that's a hat trick, and that's a big deal. I could go on, but you get the point. There's an aspect of quality that isn't just subjective, it's objective as well.
Quality is not objective. It doesn't reside in the material world. Quality is not subjective. It doesn't reside merely in the mind. Quality could be found only in the relationship of the two with each other. It is the point at which subject and object meet. Quality is not a thing. It is an event. It is the event at which the subject becomes aware of the object.
In a weird way, quality is both objective and subjective. However, when it comes to the question of the GOAT, most of the time we're not asking for a subjective opinion. We want to debate over, argue, and know the objective truth on who the GOAT is. Well, I'm sorry, but that's just not going to happen. But there are things we can do to get us closer, and sometimes right up against the objectively highest quality of something. I grew up in Los Angeles, so naturally I'm a fan of the only relevant basketball team in our city, the Lakers. I have many friends of mine who would say that Kobe Bryant is the GOAT. People from LA also say things like Kendrick Lamar is the GOAT, or In-N-Out is the GOAT. I mean, their slogan is quality you can taste. Let me tell you, that shit is quality. For other people, saying any of that is a pretty hot take. But if we admit that this is just a purely subjective preference to the relevant culture and community that we grew up in, I'm okay with that. It's okay for something to be high quality to you personally, just because of the way it's more relevant to you personally. Now, if you're willing to set aside the love you have for your culture and everyone around you, we can point out some relevant, objective qualities that make someone the GOAT. This requires us to do a little bit of double R. Relevance, realization. We gotta realize the relevant quality. You know, the relevant qualities for being great at football are different than the relevant qualities for being great at something like a podcast. If you're gonna sit here and tell me that Aaron Rodgers is a better football player than Tom Brady because he's been on more podcasts talking about whatever the hell he talks about.
Mr. Pfizer said he didn't think he would be in a vax war with me. Have me on the podcast.
If you're trying to tell me how relevant podcast appearances are and not talk about Super Bowl appearances, you're wasting my time. If we're arguing about who the GOAT is, at the very least, we have to agree on what all the relevant qualities are. Is it scores, rings, MVPs, and don't forget about all the intangibles. We gotta lay them all out and talk about it. Realizing the relevant qualities puts objective constraints on the conversation, which will help us get closer to finding an objective answer. But honestly, if we want to get even closer, we gotta take it another step further. There is nothing I hate more than when people pick and choose their stats. You see this all the time in politics. Republicans will use all the scientific stats for their argument on abortion, but ignore all the scientific stats on something like climate change. And Democrats do the same thing, just vice versa. Listen, don't get me wrong, it's okay to argue and debate over the stats, but if you're only criticizing the stats that don't fit your narrative, I have a problem with that. As long as we don't have a clear understanding of what makes something high quality, people are gonna continue getting away with picking and choosing stats. If you're able to realize the relevant qualities, we can move on to ordering all those relevant qualities by significance. Some stats hold more weight than others, and we gotta talk about what those are. So we gotta put them on something like a tier list. All right, let's talk about what makes a high quality burger. Bun, S tier. Bad bun, bad burger. Sauce, B tier. I've had good burgers with just Heinz ketchup. Patty, S tier, it's the centerpiece, don't f it up. Ratio is S tier, it could all be high quality, but if you don't got the right ratios, nutrition, D tier, that's not why I order a burger. Presentation, C tier. It's happened, but I've seen very few people make a burger look bad. All right, if we can agree to all of that, now we're getting close to an objective answer. Problem is, most people aren't gonna exactly agree on everything at this level of analysis. But if you get a handful of experts in a room, they might be able to get relatively close. And if we get close enough, you can hold people accountable and call out all their bullshit when they start to stat pick. If you can lay out all the relevant qualities for what makes something or someone the GOAT, and then lay out those qualities in order of significance, now we can get somewhere, start looking at the details, and begin to have some healthy, nuanced conversations. That's what we want, right? Healthy, nuanced conversations.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really.
But in order to continue having some productive dialogue, we gotta talk about the trade-offs. Along with many other aspects of life, quality is a game of trade-offs. Producing the highest quality in one aspect oftentimes is due to the sacrifice of quality in another aspect. McDonald's maximizes the quality of convenience.
Voila, a fresh, delicious burger from grill to counter in 30 seconds.
You get your food fast, you don't have to leave your car, it's cheap, but to do that, it has to sacrifice the quality of nutrition. On the other hand, you could maximize the quality of your nutrition by having your own garden or slaughtering your own cattle, but that's pretty damn inconvenient. I'm not trying to change my whole lifestyle and become a cowboy for the sake of my nutrition. I mean, if that's what you want to do, that's cool. I'm good though. This idea of quality trade-offs has to be acknowledged as we get into the details of what makes someone the GOAT. To me, this is where the infamous debate of Michael Jordan versus LeBron James gets really interesting.
Call me when LeBron has 6 championships.
That's your only argument?
It's the only argument I need, Sean!
They both have played basketball at such a high quality across a wide set of relevant and significant qualities that it quickly becomes a discussion discussion of trade-offs. There's this video by Jimmy High Roller on this very GOAT debate that has over 4.5 million views. It's the most watched video on this topic. In it, he lays out the advanced stats that show that MJ is the most efficient player to play the game, and outdoes LeBron on almost every stat in this regard. However, LeBron's resilience exceeds MJ and every other player who's played at this level of quality. The way he lays it out, the debate is really a discussion about the trade-offs between efficiency and resilience. Now I could go off on a tangent about the trade-offs of efficiency and resilience that we all have to assess on a regular basis. It's a key factor in creating a successful business, a successful government, and a successful life. It's everywhere. I could argue that the debate between Michael Jordan versus LeBron James is a deeply archetypal, universal, fundamental question to our reality. I can't even take myself seriously sometimes. So Michael Jordan took efficiency to its highest level of quality, but in doing so, he sacrificed his resilience in the game. On the flip side, LeBron James took resilience to the highest level of quality, but in doing so, he sacrificed his efficiency in the game. The MJ vs. LeBron GOAT discussion becomes about deciding whether Jordan's efficiency is worth his decline in resilience, or LeBron's resilience is worth his lower efficiency. And don't get me wrong, both of these players are still incredibly efficient and resilient, but we're putting the best up against the best, and that's what makes this conversation so hard. I also admit that I simplified this debate for the sake of example. There are plenty of other factors that need to be taken into account, but I think it does help show how important it is to acknowledge the trade-offs we make on this discussion of quality. And while we're here, I think it's worth highlighting one quality that tends to get overlooked a little more than I think it should. That is the quality of life. Now I get it, we live in the age of consumers, and consumers want one thing and one thing only: high-quality products. That has its merits, and it might be worth it. But you gotta acknowledge that the pursuit of a high-quality product often creates a low-quality life. It's not uncommon for our athletes, artists, and businesses to sacrifice their morals, integrity, and their very own lives, all for the sake of giving us a high-quality product. And we push for it, we look for it, we spend our money on it.
Yes, Daddy.
All until they do something that crosses a line. And then we sit there and judge them as if we played no part in their degeneration. And there's no question this can affect the GOAT conversation. I mean, we could have a once-in-a-generation talent who has the potential to go down in history. Maybe someone like a music producer who revolutionized an entire genre of music, inspired the industry into a realm we never thought possible, created hit after hit. Let's say said person started praising Hitler and openly hating on an entire race of people. Well, I don't think we'd keep said person in the GOAT conversation. Now, I understand there's this other debate on separating the art from the artist, and maybe one day I'll have to do a full video on that because I can't get into it right now. But whether we like it or not, to at least some degree, quality of life is always going to be relevant to what makes someone the GOAT. Nike was the GOAT till the sweatshops. Christopher Columbus was the GOAT till we got accurate history. Michael Jackson was the GOAT till the children. No matter the quality, my point is that the GOAT is one who can minimize these trade-offs as much as possible. True quality is when you're able to reach the highest quality of a given thing without the sacrifice of other qualities. With that, we can put everything we've discussed so far together to have a clearly defined idea of what it means to be the GOAT. Being the GOAT means being able to produce the highest quality across all the most relevant and significant qualities while simultaneously minimizing the trade-offs of all the other qualities. I mean, not to pat myself on the shoulder or anything, but I think that's a decent definition. Except there's one thing that's missing. In order to be the GOAT in anything, there is one quality above all qualities. This is the defining quality, the very essence, the gestalt, the logos, the spirit within everything that has ever been given the title of being the greatest of all time. It is the quality beyond quality. Beyond quality. Quality beyond quality. I just came up with this concept with the help of Paul Tillich, but that doesn't matter right now. What matters is explaining what the hell I'm talking about. The quality beyond quality is when someone transcends the limits of what we thought was humanly possible. It's when we have a perception of what we thought was the highest quality, and someone comes along and shows us a higher level beyond what's ever been done before. It's like Tom Brady winning 7 Super Bowls. 7! The NFL playoffs is one of the most brutal tournaments in popular sports. It's single elimination, so if you get a little unlucky or you have an off game, it's over for you. Before him, nobody ever imagined a single player getting that many rings. To put that into perspective, since 1967, the next highest on the list is not even another player. It's a tie between 2 whole organizations. Organizations older than Tom Brady himself. Brady has gone beyond our idea of what makes someone great at football. He created an entire new standard for being the GOAT that might not ever be met again. The amount of rings on his hands, is a quality beyond quality. When it comes to the greatest greatest of all time, we can't just settle on having any quality beyond quality. The GOAT has to stand up to every aspect of quality that we've discussed. It's got to go above and beyond in relevance, significance, and its ability to minimize trade-offs. Every box needs to be checked, not just one. Eminem had a quality beyond quality and relevance. Before him, white rappers weren't relevant like that. He held his own going up against the best of his time and changed the rap game by opening it up to new audiences. However, just being white isn't significant enough. Don't get me wrong, he's an incredible talent in terms of speed and rhymes, but that often came with forced rhythms and lack of flow. His lyrical miracle rap style really hasn't stood the test of time. He might be the GOAT of white rappers, but if we're talking all of hip-hop, then there are other artists who have more significant qualities and less trade-offs. Steph Curry had a quality beyond quality and significance. He changed the game with the quality of his three-point. There were many great three-point shooters before him, but they were always considered role players, not really a player you build your team around. Steph Curry made the three-pointer so significant that it changed the entire dynamic of the NBA. After he accomplished this, won a few championships, got some MVPs, there was a moment in time where he was in the GOAT conversation. But that conversation hasn't lasted, and I would argue that part of that is because the three-pointer doesn't hold enough relevance on its own. There's too many other aspects of the game that people have done better. We could say Steph Curry is the GOAT of the three-pointer, and maybe even the GOAT of point guards. But if we're talking about overall basketball players, there's other players that have more relevant qualities and less trade-offs. Keanu Reeves has a quality beyond quality and trade-offs. He's one of the most beloved actors in the industry because he's just such a good guy.
You're breathtaking.
We've had plenty of other actors, athletes, and artists who are good at what they do, but are shit human beings. And we've always just accepted that trade-off because we like their product. It's hard to maintain high-quality work and a high-quality life. But if you're looking for a man who can do both, he's right here. While I love his work, there are many other actors who are also decent human beings that have done much more relevant and significant work. Sorry, John Wick. Eminem, Steph Curry, and Keanu Reeves have all produced incredibly high quality in their respective works. But guys, we're talking about the GOAT. And to be the GOAT, just producing high quality isn't enough. To exemplify one who represents one of the closest things we've ever seen to true quality beyond quality, let's take a look at the legendary Muhammad Ali. He had quality beyond quality beyond quality beyond quality. There was so much of what he did that went beyond what the world had ever seen. He transcended what it meant to be a high-quality heavyweight boxer. His unorthodox techniques and his footwork and speed, the way he baited in his opponents, and his ability to take punch after punch seen most clearly in his infamous rope-a-dope. He transcended what it meant to give high-quality entertainment. The fight of the century, the rumble in the jungle, his fights with Sonny Liston, all of them had record-breaking viewership. Not to mention his charisma and trash talk brought a whole new level of excitement for the audience.
I am the greatest.
And above all else, he transcended what it meant to be a high-quality athlete. His greatest fight might have been his fight against adversity. He was a pivotal figure in the civil rights movement and wasn't afraid to stand up for what he believed in, even when it cost him the ability to do the thing he loved most.
The greatest man I ever met. To say he was the greatest boxer is a put down.
Muhammad Ali checks all the boxes, and there are many others who have done the same and deserve the title of the GOAT. But there are many who don't. So my goal today was to learn how we can gatekeep this title so that we don't start placing it where it doesn't belong. This requires us to have an understanding of what it truly means to be the GOAT and what it truly means to be high quality. Our ideas of what makes something high quality become the ideas that we direct the aim of our individual lives and societies. Wayne Gretzky, another one of the GOATs, famously stated that you miss every shot you don't take. And I would add on to that you miss every shot if you don't know where to aim. When you lose sight of quality, you lose sight of the aim and direction for life. The theory of evolution gives evidence that our reality is constantly moving towards higher and higher quality. We as humans are the only beings capable of making the conscious decision to define what that is and choose to direct ourselves towards it. It's important we don't settle on our ideas of what makes something high quality because it defines the direction of your life and our entire reality. Take this as seriously as I do when I'm 5 beers deep at the local dive bar yelling at strangers about who I think the GOAT is. Alright, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.